I'd like to welcome you to this presentation by Dr. Jane Thiebault, gerontologist from the University of Louisville. I met Dr. Jane many, many years ago, and I guess the lesson that I draw from Dr. Jane is just how important it is to celebrate every facet of your life, and that we live in a culture today that tends to portray our seniors, our aging population, as a population that is vulnerable, that is sick, that it's nearing the end of life process, and so it's ill, and there's a lot of negative connotations associated with growing older. And Dr. Jane conflicts that myth that this is really a great time of celebration. It's a time of special gifts. It's a time where God can maybe use people more powerfully than He's ever been able to use them in their entire lives. And so she kind of confronts that with her spirituality of seeing the aging process as being chronologically advantaged. And so I really appreciated her message and hope you will too. We try to give people a lot of opportunities to be generous through volunteer or auxiliary, or through an outright gift, through a gift in their will or estate, leaving a gift that might powerfully change the life of another individual, even through a charitable gift annuity. And most people aren't familiar with those, but they serve the donor as well, because they pay a generous income and has a lot of tax benefits during the life of the donor, and then it serves the mission of St. Mary's after that life. So I would just encourage you that if you do feel led to contribute to St. Mary's, you wouldn't hesitate to call me, but that we try to teach the spirit of generosity through the programming that we sponsor in the foundation and through St. Mary's PrimeWise. So we hope to see you at some of our educational offerings, and I always look forward to meeting new people and greeting new faces. So enjoy this presentation by Dr. Jane Thiebault, and we hope that it does what it does for us, which is inspire and motivate us to be truly appreciative for every stage of the journey in our lives. Thank you.
One of the interesting things, the new research that just came out in about the past month or so, they took a look at physiologists took a look at the brains of younger people and how they function, and the brains of older people and how they function. And basically, the main distinction is that, yes, the memories of the young are more acute and faster than the memories of older people. But what older people's brains bring are a recognition of patterns, a recognition of kind of the way things evolve, and a recognition of situations and the fact that they may be like a situation that happened 50 years ago, with a memory of what's important in the decision making about that event. So, for example, a good example of that is in rural times, when we lived on farms, it was the grandparent and the great-grandparent who had the stored memory of the seasons and the weather, and could see a sky and say, we're in for really bad weather, we need to get the hay in now. Where the young person would say, huh? Doesn't look any different than it did yesterday, okay? Wouldn't have that pattern recognition. Same way with recognizing characteristics of people. So a grandmother may say to a granddaughter who's about to marry a skunk whom she loves, I don't think he's going to treat you well. Oh, he does. Oh, I remember Eddie McNeil 70 years ago, and he has the same kind of feel about him. You better watch out for him. That kind of thing. We don't, up until now, we haven't given it the credit that it's due as a function of the brain. And actually, what the scientists are saying is that's the basis of wisdom. That is the basis of secular wisdom. The ability to have this store of information about the way things are, and to be able to call upon them and to live well, to live wisely, because there's a secular wisdom as well as a spiritual wisdom. So wisdom is what we need to be thinking about and expecting from ourselves and taking credit for it and valuing it. Okay? It's not just a nice word that Jenny or anybody else puts on senior years just to make people feel better. It is our birthright, and I'm 59, okay? It is our, in case you wanted to know, it's our birthright, and it's also an obligation. It's a responsibility, it's a call, it's a vocation. Okay, I got off track here. Now, I don't ask you whether you want to live to be 120 facetiously. That is not a joke, because 120 has, again, recently been discovered to be just about the natural biological lifespan. Every living thing has a lifespan. A robin's lifespan is about 7 years. Okay? An elephant's lifespan is about 50 or 60. One of those parrots' lifetimes can be about 110. When you buy one of those parrots, you have to have a will saying who the parrot is going to when you die. That's a long-term investment. And what they found is that the human body's lifespan, natural lifespan, without doing any kind of genetic engineering or gene programming or anything like that, is 120. Now, or, give or take a few years. We haven't been able to accept that gift for many reasons, but under optimal circumstances, genetic endowment, who your parents were and how long they lived, plus how well the environment is and how healthy it is in which you live, plus how well you take care of yourself, all of those together, if all are optimal, ought to make us be able to accept the gift of 120 years. Now, the interesting thing is we're used to talking about average life expectancy. That's just a statistic. That's not a reality, and it changes for different populations. So, for example, we can say that the average life expectancy of all people in the United States is about 78. Okay, 78, 79. You tease it out between men and women, and women are 79.8, and men are now about 76.5. Okay, you average them in, you get about 78. What's the longest lived group? So then you can tease out men and women. Okay, what's the longest lived group of people? Who are they? Anybody want to guess? Sisters, correct. Roman Catholic nuns. Roman Catholic nuns. How many of them are here? Okay. Well, you folks have to plan on an extra 5 years, above and beyond women in the United States, okay? Other women in general, okay, about 79, 80, and on top of that, 5 more years. All right, so anybody want to live long? Become a nun. I'm actually trying to get a number of orders to take on more and more older women who in second careers after their husbands have died, some even divorced. There's a group called the Sister Moms who are actually international, of people who, after their families have grown up, their husbands have died or they're divorced or whatever, become sisters. So I'm a major proponent of that, and that's my next book. Okay, and my husband keeps saying, don't do that until I die, please.